I am Jessica Sente.
I am Joanne Intagaamo.
I am Gemaline A. Timbal.
Skyla Tinampay.
And we are the Courage Dreamers.
Today we will be discussing Chapter 13, which is Control. Office employees are generally expected to produce a given amount of work in a given amount of time and within prescribed quality limits. Failure to meet either or both quantity or quality expectations generally has a negative impact on an organization's profitability. This chapter covers these topics: the process of control, the objectives of control, advantages of control, elements of control, quality control, quantity control, and work scheduling. So what is control? Control is a regulatory process of establishing standards to achieve organizational goals, comparing actual performance to the standards, and taking corrective actions when necessary to restore performance to those standards. Control is achieved when behavior and work procedures conform to standards and when company goals are accomplished. The first step in the control process is setting standards. Before we start any other work, the managers need to set the standards against which the actual performances will be measured. These performance standards can be in the form of goals, such as revenue from sales over a period of time. Before these standards are set, an appropriate study of the economy, situation, and probability must be done so that the standards set are practical in nature. The standards should be attainable, measurable, and clear. There are 6 types of standards: the time standards, output standards, cost standards, quality standards, behavioral standards, and control tolerance. The next consistent step in the control process is to measure the actual performance of the employees of the organization. The actual performance of the employee is measured against the target. However, this dimension of performances is not as straightforward as it sounds, particularly for non-technical jobs. When a manager is concerned with controlling sales, daily, weekly, or monthly sales, figures represent actual performance. With the increasing levels of management, the measurement of performance becomes difficult. The third step in the control process is comparing actual performances with standards. This comparison of the actual performances with the standards will make known the differences and deviations. This compares the degree of difference between the actual performance and the standard. In real case scenarios, these numbers almost never match up completely. It is completely necessary to evaluate deviations to determine why the standard is not being met when performance falls short of the standard. Both managers need to ensure that these deviations are not beyond the acceptable ranges. The comparison becomes easier when standards are set in quantitative terms. For instance, the performance of a worker in terms of units produced in a week can be easily measured against the standard output for the week. Comparing performance against standards. Performance may be higher than, lower than, or identical to the standard. The timetable for comparing performance to standards depends on a variety of factors. Annual comparisons may be appropriate for longer run and higher level standards. Examples of qualitative standards: improving the motivation level of employees, improving labor relations, improving the quality of products, improving goodwill, and etc. Thus, standards proceed as a lighthouse that warns and guides the ships at sea. Standards are the benchmarks towards which efforts of the whole organization are directed. The fourth and last step in the control process is taking corrective actions. It is initiated by the manager who corrects any defects in actual performance. This brings us to the final step of the control process. If the deviations in the third step are in an unacceptable range, then the firm needs to improve their performances, and the management must take action to get better the actual performance of the firm in those problem areas.
Here are some examples of problems that are in need to take corrective action. Projects. Addressing project problems such as technical hurdle, business issue, schedule slippage, or cost overrun. For example, a critical project resource suddenly resigns and it becomes clear they won't deliver a number of items. Quality. Fixing products and services that don't conform to specifications. Like for example, replacing a machine on a production line that has a higher error rate. Operations. Operational corrective actions such as maintenance on equipment and assets that are broken. Performance management. In this context, corrective action implies a problem that can't be addressed with subtle feedback and coaching. It is often viewed as the last step before disciplinary action. For example, a corrective action might involve a formal verbal or written warning to stop being late for work. Information systems. The incident management process of troubleshooting failures of IT services and infrastructure. A corrective action is often a short-term fix such as backing out a recent configuration change.
So now, let's talk about objective control. So what does objective control means? Objective control is based on facts that can be measured and tested. For example, a behavioral control. The owner of the store or the business wants the employee to become more friendly with the customers. What does objective control consist of? It consists of communication, presence, pressure, and vision. Communication. Communication is always the first step to understanding how objective control starts, because objective control can barely be controlled by really one person. Communication is very important in order to have an understanding between you and your group. Pressure is really important objective control as well. Presence is just being around in the objective. For example, your presence is a must during meetings and etc. Vision is something that you imagined. Why objective control is important? Objective control is important because it secures the objective. It is safe and objective to have a control. Having an objective control over an objective is secure and is less for risk. When, why, and how to control an objective. When really matters on team conversations and understanding our own teams in conditions to fully identify when an objective is worth to take and when it's safe. Why? In order to control the things. How? We should have these 4 ways: the communication, pressure, vision, and presence. Without these 4 ways, it is possible that things gets rough. Advantages of control. Managerial control is essential to efficient management. It helps the managers to measure actual performance and guide it towards the achievement of predetermined goals. It is important activity in any business enterprise. Just as road signals are necessary at a busy road crossing to ensure accident-free and smooth flow of traffic, management control devices are necessary in an organization for the attainment of its goals. There are 10 advantages of control, and these are: control improves goodwill, control minimizes wastage, control ensures optimal utilization of resources, control helps to fix responsibility, control guide operations, control motivates employee, controls minimizes deviations, control facilities delegations, control facilities coordination. Lastly, control increases efficiency. First advantage: control improves goodwill. Quality controls improves the quality of the products. Cost control decreases the cost of the products. Therefore, the organization can supply good quality products at lower prices. These increase the goodwill of the organization. Second, control minimizes wastage. Control helps to reduce the wastage of human, material, and financial resources. These increase the profits of the organization. Third, control ensures optimal utilization of resources. Control helps the organization to make optimal utilization of the available resources. This also increases the profit of the organization. Fourth, control helps to fix responsibility. Control helps to fix responsibility of a particular job and a particular person or a particular department. So, if there are any mistakes, then a particular person or a particular department will be held responsible for it. Fifth, control guides operations. Control fixes certain standards. All the work has to be done according to these standards. So control acts like a traffic signal. It guides all the operations of the organization the right direction. Sixth, control motivates employees. Control the employees' performances are evaluated regularly. Those who show good performances are extended by giving them promotions, cash, prizes, and etc. This motivates the employees to work hard, and it also improves their morale. 7. Control minimizes deviations. Control minimizes the deviation between a planned performance and actual performance. 8. Control facilities delegation. Control helps the superiors to evaluate the work of their subordinates. So, the superior can concentrate on the every important work, and they can delegate the less important work to the subordinates. Thus, it facilitates delegations. 9. Control facilities coordination. Control facilities coordination between the different departments of the organization. Whenever there are any deviations, different departments come together to take collective and corrective steps. 10th, the last one. Control increases efficiency. Efficiency in the relation between returns and cost. If there is a high return at low cost, then there is efficiency, and vice versa. Control leads to high returns and low cost. Therefore, it increases efficiency.
Moving on to the elements of a good control system. Controlling is one of the most basic functions of management. It involves several important steps that plays a big role in effective management. In order to meet their targets according to plans, managers must have a good control system at disposal. It is important to note that every decent control system must possess certain basic elements to fulfill its actions. Since they all play a major role, the absence of any one of them can make the whole system weak. Hence, manager must ensure that their control systems contain the following basic elements and consideration of a good control system. First, feedback. Feedback is the backbone of all control systems. This feedback is nothing but the information the manager used to correct their organizational actual performance. The aim of feedback is basically to adjust future actions using previous experiences. Managers use the information they receive from feedbacks to implement corrective measures. Such measures generally help in bridging the gap between the actual performance of the organization and its goals. Feedback may either be formal or informal. Formal feedback consists of sources like financial statements, statistics, reports, other written communication. On the other hand, informal feedback includes personal opinions, informal discussions, and an individual's observations. The second element is control must be objective. The second essential requirement of a good control system is that it must always be objective. A subjective criterion should never be the basis of evaluating actual performances in an organization. For example, evaluation of an employee's performance should comprise of standards like working hours, productivity, and efficiency. Managers should not evaluate employees using subjective prejudices. The third element is prompt reporting of deviations. This element of the controlling system basically requires quick reporting of deviations and discrepancies. If some work is not going according to plans, the relevant manager must take notice of this immediately. This is because any delay of reporting problems and taking corrective measures can lead to financial losses for a business that organization is in charge of. The fourth one is control should be forward-looking. Control system can often suffer from the effect of delays in reporting of deviations and taking of corrective measures. Hence, manager must ensure that their control systems are forward-looking. Of course, because a forward-looking control system can help in identifying and predicting deviations in advance as well as giving adequate for course correction. Fifth element is flexible controls. A rigid control system can often make it ineffective in extraordinary and unpredictable situations. It should thus be flexible and open to changes. Managers must be able to adapt their control measures as per the requirements of every possible scenario. 6. Hierarchical suitability. Almost all business organizations possess management hierarchies, comprising of managers at various positions and levels, since each manager performs controlling functions at his level. The system itself must suit his organization's hierarchy. Every manager must have adequate powers for his purpose, and the flow of information for evaluation should be effective. 7. Economical control. Every good controlling system has to be economical when it comes to the implementations and maintenance. In other words, its benefits should outweigh its costs, and organization must be able to afford it, also derive all possible advantages from it. Next is strategic control points. A good control system must be able to deal with every deviation as per its seriousness. No organization can afford to accord equal importance to each and every problem. This is basically the whole aim of strategic control points. The second to the last element is control must be simple to understand. Sophisticated policies can often make elements of control system difficult to understand and implement. A good system, however, is always simple to comprehend and work on. It eliminates confusion between employees. Lastly, control should focus on workers. Why? It is because good control system always focus on workers instead of the work itself. Since it is workers who implement the system, everybody should be able to work with them effectively.
And for the next topic, we will tackle about quality of control. What is quality of control? Well, quality control is a process through which businesses seek out to ensure that product quality is maintained or improved. It requires the company to create an environment in which both management and employees strive for perfection. This is done by training personnel, creating benchmarks for product quality, and testing products to check for statistically significant variations. So, quality control has a significant aspect, which is the establishment of well-defined controls. And these controls help standardize both production and reactions to quality issues. It involves testing units and determining if they are within the specifications for the final product. The purpose of the testing is to determine any needs for corrective actions in the manufacturing process. Moreover, quality control has common methods. These include the inspection and statistical quality control. Inspection is a predominant quality control process, and it requires organizations to perform visual and testing examinations on the output and manufacturing processes. Inspection has three important aspects of the quality assurance. First, product inspection, which an organization must assess an item's quality and isolate defective products to prevent them from being sold. The next one is the process inspection that assesses the total quality of raw materials, equipment, and machinery that is used during production. And the third one is inspection analysis, which once all inspections are completed, organizations can analyze the information and locate the source of defective products. Furthermore, inspection has two general types to choose from: the 100% inspection and sample inspection. The 100% inspection is a quality control process that involves looking at and assessing all parts of a product. Besides, the sample inspection, or also called partial inspection, uses only a select quantity of a product for evaluation, and its results will lead to either accepting or rejecting the entire unit. If a sample is deemed poor quality, businesses may conduct a 100% inspection of the entire stock to confirm the original report. This process saves money and time for organizations. It also promotes actively monitoring goods at different stages of manufacturing because it can be done quickly. And the second common method of quality control is statistical quality control, which utilizes statistical measures such as sampling and probability to uphold quality standards. The industries are responsible for mass production or continuous processes commonly use statistical deduction as a tool for quality assurance. This method can be split into three parts. The first one is acceptance sampling and analysis, which for this approach, a unit of final products must be sampled based on its defining traits and functions. Using the acceptance sampling, the batch is tested to determine if it fits standard quality and specifications. It clarifies the degree of marketability and guarantees that only a certain percentage of faulty products are accepted. The second one is a process control and control charts, which process sampling should be conducted in tandem with a control chart, which are graphs that indicate changes in manufacturing, and this is a common tool for statistical process control because it can identify the tolerable limits of variations in products. And lastly, the corrective measures, which the metrics gathered from these statistical methods will increase the visibility of the problems within operational processes. There are also 7 primary quality control tools. These include checklist, fishbone diagram, control chart, stratification, Pareto chart, histogram, and scatter diagram. The first primary quality control tool is checklist. Checklist requires you to check off a list of items that are imperative to manufacture and sell your product. Second, fishbone diagram, which it is helpful for determining what causes a specific problem, be it materials, machines, methods, or manpower. Third, control chart, which helps you see how processes historically change using controls. The fourth one is stratification, which separates data so you can identify patterns and specific problems areas. Fifth, Pareto chart, which provides a visual analysis of problems and causes so you can focus on the most significant issues. Sixth, histogram, which uses bars to identify frequency distributions that indicate how often defects occur. Lastly, scatter diagram, which can help visually identify relationships between variables. In some cases, quality control has benefits also. This includes gain customers, ensure product safety, increase in customer loyalty, and positive branding. Definitely, having quality control in place within a business can only help ensure product quality and the overall success of a business. The environment of quality control influences employees' attitudes about the workplace and creates a sense of ownership in the products and company as a whole. These methods also help create a safe work environment and product safety that benefits customers and the company alike.
And now let's proceed to quantity control. Quantity control is an important aspect in the relationship with the supplier. To ensure that all contractual obligations have been met, and to prevent any possible disputes, a verification by an independent third party can save you a lot of trouble in the long run. Quantity control. The control of quantity consumed ensures that everything consumed has been accounted for. It does not ensure profitability, but provides a needful supplementary check and is simple to operate. Selling price control. This method is also most suitable for establishments with a limited range of items on the menu, especially when each item contains a small number of standardized ingredients. It can be used in conjunction with quality control. Cost price control. This system is most practical and best understood. It allows for a certain elasticity and provides the chef with a margin for development meat. Net profit. All expenditures can be classified as MC, LC, and overheads. It follows the difference between total revenue and the total of these costs and the net profit before tax. Portion control. Portion control means the amount of size of a portion of food to be served to a customer. Methods of monitoring portion control is by direct supervision, by sales analysis, and by comparing the requisitions of each department with issues. Purpose of portion control. First is to ensure fair portions for each customer. Second is to see that each department utilizes purchases to the full. Third, to control waste. Fourth, to ensure that standard costing are as accurate as possible. Methods of monitoring portion control. First, ordering the right quantity and quality and expressing when receiving it. Second, even preparing the food in the production area during direct supervision. Third, by proper checking of the service of food. Fourth, comparing the requisitions of each department with issues. Fifth, by sales analysis. Aids to portion control. It is assisted by equipment and utensils as for example a scoop used mainly for ice cream can also be used for mashed potato as a portioner for mixture. Automatic portion control equipment include tea dispenser, butter pot machines, bread slicing and buttering machines. B. Utensils used in portion control include ladles, wire servers, Pie dish, scales, baking tins, and measures. C. Serving dishes that help in portion control. Glasses, casseroles, cups, tureens, and sundae glasses. Visual aid sheets. A portion control sheet can be used for costing various items of food or complete dishes. The object is to ascertain the total yield of a given commodity after preparation and processing. Standardized recipes. They assist in food costing and portion control by taking the guesswork away and substituting more exact approach by listing the ingredients and methods in a readily understood form, as the result will be uniform every time it is featured. The food cost can also be known in advances if a price column is introduced, providing it is kept up to date in any price changes.
And the next topic is all about work scheduling. A work schedule refers to the specific days and hours designated to an employee for paid work. It includes the details of your specific shift, including which days of the week and hours of the day you're expected to work for a company. Depending on your job and the business, you could work the same hours and days your entire career there, or your schedule could vary based on the employer's needs. A work schedule is important to think about when you want to achieve a harmonious work-life balance. When you're searching for a job, it is important to discuss the work schedule to find out if it fits to your needs. You should make sure the schedule works around your prior responsibilities or that you can accommodate a new work schedule. If the job description doesn't list the schedule, you can ask the hiring manager for more details. Work schedule has the most common types. These include full-time, fixed, flexible, rotating, and split. Full-time. Full-time hours are the traditional work hours most people envision when getting a job. Full-time employees often work between 30 to 40 hours throughout the week, though the standard is typically 40 hours. The example for this is Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Part-time. People with part-time jobs usually work fewer than 30 hours per week. Part-time schedules provide greater flexibility for parents, students, and others who need it. Work schedules often involve working 4-hour shifts each day or 8-hour shifts certain days of the week, depending on your individual schedule. The downside to part-time jobs is that they do not include benefits and often have inconsistent hours. The example for this is Monday through Thursday from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. and Saturday and Sunday from 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. Fixed. Fixed schedules follow a specific timetable regarding hours and days worked each week. The details of fixed work hours are agreed upon by the employer and employee before the shifts start. The example for this is Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. Flexible. While you are expected to work a certain number of hours on a flexible schedule, the details of your work arrangement may vary from week to week. In this situation, a manager usually creates schedules just 1 to 2 weeks in advance based on needs, meaning your shifts can vary from week to week. Flexible schedules are common in retail, restaurant, and hospitality industries. A flexible shift could be useful if you are a student with a varied schedule. The example for this is Monday, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m., Tuesday, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., Thursday, 11 a.m. to 5 p.m., and Friday, 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Rotating. Having a rotating shift means that your work schedule changes weekly or quarterly depending on your employer. These shifts are very common in the healthcare, military, and construction fields and require you to work different hours that rotate in a specific time frame. The example for this is your hours may include day shifts 7 a.m. to 3 p.m., swing shifts 1 p.m. to 9 p.m., or night and weekend hours. Split. Split shifts divide the hours you work in a day into two separate shifts. Instead of having one lunch break in the middle of the day, you have a break of at least 2 hours that separates your shifts. These shifts can be beneficial or challenging, depending on your individual circumstances. Common careers with split shifts include restaurant servers, who must work during busy meal periods, and school bus drivers who drive children to and from school. No matter the career, employers must check with federal, state, and local laws before implementing split shifts. The example for this is Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., and then 6 p.m. to 10 p.m.
In order to make sure that you will be able to choose the most effective work schedule, here are 2 guidelines that will help you choose your work schedules. First, decide when you're most productive. Learning when you're most focused and energized can help you find a work schedule where you can excel the most that will contribute to your productivity and work-life balance. If you're more attentive when you first get out of bed and enjoy starting the day early, you should pursue jobs that allow you to work in the morning. If your brain functions better in the afternoon after you have a full morning sleep, you may enjoy afternoon shifts. Some people choose graveyard or evening shifts because they're sometimes quieter, slow-paced, and provide less interaction with people. Second, consider your responsibilities. While work can be fulfilling, it's probably not the only part of your life. It is because we all have other responsibilities in life that we need to make time for. Many employers will try to accommodate scheduling requests as best as they can to keep employees satisfied and happy. For example, if you are a student, school should be a main priority. So it is important to find one that can work around your classes. Of course, a student needs time for homework and studying too. While if you are raising a family, you have a lot of decisions to make. Choosing a work schedule, it is because you have to consider the cost of childcare, individual family schedule that involves school and work, even making extracurricular activities.